Do you want a fully leveled event building for free? Well, step right up to the brand new St. Patrick's Day event, where we do not do that here. Or rather, instead of getting a fully leveled event building for free during the event, you'll be able to probably complete it 5 months after the event is over. So like August. Isn't that awesome? That's right, folks. The new main event building is the 5x4 Druid Hut with 9 levels. But that's not all. There's also an additional level to make the Archdruid Hut, which is basically the 10th level. However, to upgrade it to that final level, you need the Archdruid Hut upgrade kit. And guess what? You might not be able to get it for free while the event is still running. Make sure that you stick around to the end of the video so that you don't miss out on any of the strategies that you'll have to use to get it. Before we get into that whole discussion though, let's just talk about the level 9 Druid Hut. As I mentioned earlier, it's 5x4 and has 10 levels. At its 9th level, it provides, a lot of stuff with a lot of numbers. Let's break it down more simply. It provides coins, decent army boosts with up to a 17% attack and 20% defense boost for attacking armies, 7 forge points, and then has 2 random productions. The first will give you either a 100% coin boost or an 8-hour mass coin rush, and there's a 50-50 chance of getting either of these. The other random production will give you 5 fragments of a tree, a new building in this event. There's 3 different types, but as you might expect, the worst one has the highest chance of 70% of being one, while the better one has a 30% chance. And the third tree, the best one? Well, you can't get that from the Druid Hut. Each tree requires 150 fragments to be assembled. And lastly, the Druid Hut provides a singular, wonderful fragment of the Archdruid Hut upgrade kit, which requires 150 fragments to assemble. That means if you make it to level 9, you'll be able to assemble a full kit to get to that final level after 150 days, or about 5 months. So what does this final Archdruid Hut upgrade actually give you? I mean, a lot. You get an additional 5% attack and 6% defense boosts, bringing you up to a 22% attack and 26% defense boost, which is nearly a 30% increase of both stats. You also get an extra 5 forge points, bringing you up to 12 total. You still have the same odds of both the coin boosts and the tree fragment productions, but instead of 5 fragments of the trees, you'll get 10 now instead. As you might be able to guess, you'll probably be wanting this better version of the Druid Hut. The problem? There's basically no way to guarantee that you'll get it for free during the event. You can make it to level 9, but that final level, really difficult. As I mentioned earlier though, the Druid Huts will provide fragments of trees. There are 3 unique types, being the Tree of Patience, which we'll all need more of in this event, the Tree of Silence, and the Tree of Vitality. Each is 1 by 1 and unfortunately requires a road connection to provide its boosts. The Tree of Patience provides up to a 3% defense boost for defending armies, coins, and a random production of 1 forge point or 1 self-aid kit with 75-25 odds respectively. Why are there so many random numbers in this event? This tree has a 70% chance of being won from either the level 9 Druid Hut or the Archdruid Hut's daily collection. So you'll get enough fragments for one of these trees about every 28 days from the Druid Hut or every 14 days from the Archdruid Hut, as it provides 10 fragments instead of the Druid Hut's 5. To win the second tree, the Tree of Vitality, it will take about 67 days from the Druid's Hut or 33 days from the Archdruid Hut, and this is the one that you'll probably want to build in your city. It provides up to a 2% attack and defense boost for attacking armies, coins, 1 forge point, and, the best part, 1 fragment of a 1-up kit. No random production here, thankfully. It will take pretty long to build up a forest of these trees, but they're actually pretty decent prizes. But I hear you asking, what about the third tree? Well, it's a very good prize with up to a 4% attack boost for defending armies and a 2% attack boost for attacking armies. On top of that, you get a 50% chance for either 2 fragments of a renovation kit or 4 forge points. So how do you get this one? This amazing tree? Well, that's the neat part. You don't. It looks like it'll be constrained to the event pass and potentially the end of town boxes, which we'll discuss later. There's also 2 technically new items introduced with this event, but in reality they're just selection kits. Similarly to the Forgeable event, there's now an epic St. Patrick's selection kit. It offers buildings from all the previous St. Patrick's Day events, including the Celtic Farmstead, Druid Temple, and all of the pieces parts of the Celtic Forest set. It will take fragments to assemble, but the coolest bit, it's only available in the event pass. That's right, if you don't want to spend money, you won't be seeing it. The other technically new item is the Druid Tree Selection Kit, which gives you a choice between the Tree of Patience and the wonderful Tree of Silence. That's right, just like batteries, the Tree of Vitality is not included. Make sure you check the packaging first. This is the only place that, as a free-to-play player, you'll be able to get the Tree of Silence, and only from the end of town boxes at that. What fun! Speaking of fun, the Event Pass has also made a return with the same $15 price tag, and it seems like there still isn't that much of value in the pass. You can get 5 fragments of the Epic St. Patrick's 2023 Selection Kit every so often of the 15 needed to assemble the kit, but you don't really get that many. By the time you have a level 9 Druid Hut, you'll only have gotten 2, including the full kit that you get for purchasing the Event Pass. You also get the usual exclusive avatars, laughably small amounts of pots of gold, like really, you get more from quests, and Druid Tree Selection Kits and some Trees of Vitality. No new exclusive buildings will be included though. It does include the Archdruid Hut upgrade kits though, so I guess if you want to spend money, woohoo! As for the event minigame, it's the same as it's been since the St. Patrick's Day event was first introduced. If you haven't played it, I'll explain it here as plainly as possible. You purchase buildings that produce shamrocks and have to keep clicking on them to start new productions. You can purchase these people called managers that start new productions for you, basically mean that you don't have to click. You can use the shamrocks that you can get from this to upgrade said buildings and purchase new ones that produce more shamrocks. As you progress, you can complete tasks which count towards grand prizes, and finally, you can pay a large sum of shamrocks to end your current town and progress to the new one to start everything over from the beginning. After ending a town but before starting a new one, you can purchase prize boxes. And if it's still confusing, don't worry, it's confusing for everybody. So I'll be making a video specifically diving into as simple an explanation of the minigame as I can make. Subscribe so you don't miss it, coming out on Thursday. In this event, there are no daily specials. Instead, you can get prizes in one of 3 ways. The first is by completing a task, and you can get a small reward like a unit or a couple of goods. The second is from grand prizes. Every 25 tasks you complete will net you one of these guys. Third and lastly, you can open boxes with the event currency, pots of gold, also known as pots. You finish a town after paying a fee of 8.4 quadrillion shamrocks, but we'll talk about that later. The important thing is that the boxes at the end of each town have a small chance of giving you 50 fragments of the 150 needed to assemble an Archdruid Hut upgrade kit. For whichever strategy you choose, and we'll be discussing them really soon, this chart shows the percentages of players that will have the 50 Archdruid Hut fragments show up at least 3 times at the end of each number of towns. The best way to ensure that you get these is by completing as many towns as possible to get more shots at getting lucky with the end of town chests. And a small change from last year's event, you can now buy all the boxes at the end of the town for a discounted 1,400 pots of gold versus 1,850 if you bought them all individually. And this brings us to the strategies. So in short, there are 2 strategies that you can follow. The first is to focus entirely on waiting 150 days to get the upgrade for the Archdruid Hut in 150 easy payments of 1 fragment. This strategy can be a lot easier and can be a lot less demanding on your time if you can't log in frequently. The second option is to try and complete towns as quickly as you can to try and get fragments of the Archdruid Hut upgrade from the boxes at the end of towns. You can get the level 1 building and 2 upgrades from the quest line, so you only need 6 more kits on top of that. We can get these by playing through just 4 towns, completing about 31 to 32 tasks per town, which would get you just enough tasks to reach 125 tasks, which will give you 3 kits from the grand prizes. At the end of 3 of those 4 towns, you can buy the full set of 6 boxes to get a Druid Hut upgrade. These boxes will give you the last 3 kits that you need to reach level 9. Make sure that you use the 1,400 pots of gold discount for the boxes, as it'll save you 450 pots of gold per set of 6 boxes. With this strategy, you would have to average about 5 days per town, which gives you a lot of room for error in case you can't play the game often or you miss a couple days. Of course, the more towns you're able to complete, the better. The second strategy is just raw speedrunning. Complete as many towns as fast as you can and only purchase the boxes at the end of a town if you see the 50 Archdruid Hut fragments as a reward. You gotta collect them all. Of course, purchase the free box regardless of whether or not you buy all the boxes. In the interest of winning Archdruid Hut fragments though, you're actually better off purchasing the boxes individually and hoping that the fragments aren't in the 6th box rather than choosing the 1400 pots of gold discount. You'll average 542 pots of gold per upgrade if it shows up from doing this, which is much better than the 1400 pots of gold you'd be spending otherwise. Why do you want to save your pots of gold? Well, you need to use them on future towns. Because instead of getting upgrades for your Druid Hut from opening boxes, the goal is to win all of your upgrades from the grand prizes via completing as many tasks as is humanly possible within the time span of the event. You have to reach 275 tasks to reach level 9 of the Druid Hut and 300 tasks to get 50 fragments of the Archdruid Hut upgrade. This strategy also has the bonus of giving you more chances at seeing the Archdruid Hut fragments as an option in the boxes at the end of each town. With this strategy, you would have to finish at least 9 towns to reach 275 tasks, or 10 towns to reach 300. That means you would have to average about 50 hours or 2 days per town, which is pretty fast, but a doable pace. Whichever strategy you choose, you want to get as many tasks done per town as possible, while also only upgrading the managers to the levels that they have to be at. There are 3 sets of tasks that repeat every 3 towns, requiring different levels of managers as shown on screen now. Additionally, there are some quests that you'll want to skip, and these are the ones that I recommend for each town. For town 1, you want to skip upgrade your cake factory manager to level 3, upgrade your ship manager to level 4, and then end the town without completing the task, collect 16 quadrillion shamrocks. Because who needs that many shamrocks? For town 2, you're going to want to skip hiring a level 3 cake factory manager, upgrading your flour factory to level 200, and end the town without completing the task asking you to upgrade your ship manager to level 4. For town 3, you want to skip hiring a level 3 drinks manager, upgrading your festival manager to level 4, and you want to end the town without completing the task asking you to upgrade 200 buildings. So after all of that, what are your odds of actually winning all the fragments needed to assemble the Archdruid selection kit? Well, the good news is that we can figure it out. This chart shows the breakdown of your odds of having all 3 kits after each town. Why the 2 different colored bars? Well, no one knows for completely sure the odds of having an Archdruid upgrade kit show in the chests. But the assumption is between 33 and 20%, so that's what I'm showing here. Regardless of the odds, you can get over a 60% or higher chance of winning all the kits after completing 10 towns. If you choose the first strategy and only do about 5 towns, you have only up to about a 20% chance of getting extra fragments. However, I'll leave the decision of strategies up to you and your schedule. That was a lot of info. So let's talk portraits. There are 5 new ones introduced in this pass, with the first 2 being available from the quest line, and the last 3 locked behind the event pass. I hope you've learned something, and if you found this video helpful, you might enjoy my breakdown of how exactly a 1.9 thread works, and it's linked on screen now. Good luck in the event, and I'll see you next time.